yards in Baltimore, home of the Orioles, who are hosting the first-place Houston Astros in Game 2 of a 3-game set. Scott Feldman will be going opposite of Chris Tillman for the O's. We welcome you in to Astros Baseball on Root Sports. I'm Julia Morales. Alan Ashby, Jeff Blum will be joining you in the booth with the call in just a few short minutes. Astros looking to bounce back after a tough, close loss to the Orioles yesterday on Memorial Day, but there were some positive things to take from that one. Jose Altuve returned to the lineup after one day off. George Springer, of course, leading off yesterday. He'll be doing the same again. It went Springer, Altuve in that 1-2 spot, and they responded well. Let's take a look at our AT&T rewind as these guys combined went 5 for 9 in that 1-2 spot. For then Springer, of course, led off the first, third, and fifth innings with hits, including that solo home run. Altuve getting a couple of knocks after a quiet couple of games for him offensively. 2 runs scored with these guys. They worked well together in 2014, but in different roles. Jose Altuve led off then and setting the table, of course, for George Springer. AJ really likes Springer in that leadoff spot this year with his handling of the strike zone. Don't go anywhere. Coming up, the Orioles spoiled the big day of Springer and Altuve with 2 big swings of their own. Can Evan Gattis keep his RBI machine cranking? Astros look to take Game 2. Lineups and first pitch coming up next.
and the home of the brave.
The national anthem here at Oriole Park in Camden Yards in Baltimore, Maryland. They've had a very nice moment of silence to reflect on what has gone on in Houston and throughout Texas and other areas with all the recent storms. And we certainly want to send out our heartfelt wishes and prayers on behalf of all of those who have been impacted in any way negatively. It has been a rough ride, and we hope you're able to get everything going in the right direction and enjoy this evening of baseball with us.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a tough time right now. Those guys in the clubhouse know all about it. It's all over the news. So these guys are feeling the pain of what's happening down there, and I know that they're going to play their hearts out tonight for those fans that are watching down in Houston going through this tough time right now. We are thinking about you, and we are definitely praying for you.
So we're set to go here in Baltimore. Tonight's starting lineup for the Astros brought to you by Southwest Airlines. And for A.J. Hinch and the Astros trying to pick up a win here in Baltimore. George Springer leads it off, followed by second baseman Jose Altuve. And in the 3 spot tonight, left fielder Preston Tucker. Middle 3 in the order, Evan Gattis, he's the DH. In center, it's Colby Rasmus, and Luis Valbuena is at third base. In the bottom 3 in the order, Chris Carter at first, doing the catching Jason Castro, and Marwin Gonzalez is at short.
Chris Tillman for the Baltimore Orioles. Having an atypical year for Chris Tillman. Has some good numbers in the past for the Baltimore Orioles. As recent as 2012, had a 2.93 ERA. Last year was a 3.34, but this year he's sitting on a 6.10 ERA. You see that whip well over 1.5. He has 22 walks in 41 innings and only 29 strikeouts. And some of the balls, I was talking to Alan Zinter, the assistant hitting coach for the Houston Astros earlier, said it. He's making a lot of mistakes out of the zone, but he's also making some mistakes in the zone. The control is not there for him, so some of the pitches that should be on the edges are ending up in the middle of the plate. That should lead to some big hits for these Houston Astros.
For Tillman, lifetime against the Astros, he has started 3 games. He's 2-1 in those 3 games and has pitched well. ERA at 2.41. And that batting average against with Astros hitters at the plate, just 185. So George Springer tries to turn that around as he's gotten a bit hot here lately, hitting 224 overall. Hit a home run, his 7th on the year in yesterday's game, and it was a bolt.
Velocity from Tillman, usually about 92 miles an hour on that fastball. He's been having issues controlling that changeup.
Fastball at 90. As Blummer says, velocity off a bit now for Tillman. You always hope as a hitter to be able to take advantage of that. Works from a semi-stretch position. Fastball grounded up the middle, and it's going to be a leadoff single for George Springer. He had said earlier there are no hits up the middle, but I'm not sure he believes that at this moment.
Well, George is one of those guys that's been actually shifted quite a bit throughout the season. Here they don't have the shift on. He's able to find a base hit up the middle, which is where he has not been able to find some hits. So I was talking to A.J. Hinch before the game, and he keeps telling George the hits are out there. You just got to go find them. And here in recent days, he's finding those holes. How about your new leadoff man?
Well, he's going to stay there, I would think, for a good long while if he continues to have success there. Now 5 for his last 9 while batting in that spot. Jose Altuve is also trying to get it hot. He's had a rough road trip, but picked up 2 hits yesterday as he was inserted back in the lineup. On the road trip, Jose 3 for 16 with a ribby. Overall, Altuve right under the 300 mark at 299. Orioles able to win one yesterday, opening game of this 3-game set. Dallas Keuchel pitched very well, but in the end he allowed 2 home runs, each 2-run jobs, and the Astros lost it 4-3 to the O's. And a 2-0 count to Jose Altuve.
Rumor has it that George has a bunch of family and friends here at the ball game too. Drove down from Connecticut. So I'm sure he wants to put on a good performance for them. Maybe that's what's leading to all these hits.
Boy, if it works, fly him around.
Yeah, they packed him up, brought him to him.
2-0 pitch, hit on the ground, should be 2. Pierce on to Hardy. And then Davis, and they get the double play. Perfectly set up on a sharply hit ground ball by Jose Altuve. And quickly 2 outs here in the first inning.
We are here at Camden Yards, and let's see how the Baltimore Orioles line it up. Behind Chris Tillman, David Lowe in left, Adam Jones in center field. 3 straight Gold Gloves out there. Delman Young in right field. Manny Machado at third base. J.J. Hardy back at short after coming out of that game yesterday. Steve Pearce moves from first to second. Chris Davis is in there at first base. And Caleb Joseph back behind home plate.
Preston Tucker at the plate. First opportunity now for Preston to bat in that highly thought of third spot in the batting order, hitting .341. A couple of pinch hit home runs already. He's driving in runs for the club, and as I would think, earned the chance to be in this 3 spot.
I think this is the right man in the right spot right now. I know he's a young kid. You're on a first place team, but still, with his ability to swing the bat, I think it's a good spot for him.
6 for 13 on the road trip. Grounds 1 foul, has the count at a ball and a strike. Make that 1-2 now on Preston. Sits safely in his last 3 games.
It's got to be a little bit of excitement for the staff down there in the dugout, writing Preston Tucker's name into that 3-hole, I would imagine.
Strike 3 called, so Tucker caught looking. Despite the base hit by George Springer to start the ball game, just 3 hitters faced in the first. Scoreless after a half. Very nice evening here in Baltimore for tonight's game. A little rumor of rain being in the forecast tomorrow afternoon for the Baltimore Orioles of Buck Showalter. They line him up with Manny Machado in the top spot. He's the third baseman, followed by DH, former Astro Jimmy Paredes. And then Adam Jones is the 3-hitter. Middle 3, powerful Chris Davis, followed by Steve Pearce, who had one of the 2-run home runs yesterday, and Delman Young. And the bottom 3, J.J. Hardy. He had to leave the game yesterday, but back in there today. David Lowe is in left. And doing the catching, Caleb Joseph.
Let's take a look at Scott Feldman for your Houston Astros, getting the start today. It'll be his 10th start on the season. The ERA is up. The month of May has not been kind to Scott Feldman. Usually a guy that has to work the edges of the plate with his fastball around 90 miles an hour. Has a cutter, but both those pitches have been finding the zone a lot more. And they've also been leading to a lot more line drives being ripped off Scott Feldman. So look for him to try and work that control a little bit, get off the edges, and get these guys to chase.
Manny Machado leads it off. He's hit in 8 straight coming in. His 15th career game against Houston. That takes a well-spotted fastball from Feldman. In those 14 previous games, a .241 batting average, a couple of homers, and 7 RBIs for Machado. Generally regarded as one of the best defensive third basemen in the game. And he is just a baby.
I saw Mike Bordick, who does the color commentary over here for the Baltimore Orioles, and he was asking me about a young man in our organization, Carlos Correa, and I'd say this is a pretty comparable guy as far as age, talent.
Yeah. Well, Blummer, Manny Machado is still just 22 years of age, and this is his 4th year in the big leagues.
That's amazing.
Came up in 2012, hit .262 in just 51 games, but then became a legitimate star in 2013. Played 156 games that year. He was an all-star. He was 9th in MVP voting, won a Gold Glove. And then that following season ran into physical problems, and he's really trying to work his way back now. Seem to be no questions about his knee. Buck Showalter has a very talented young third baseman. And the early years have certainly not been wasted for Machado. Fly ball to right field as Springer makes the catch, out number 1.
Let's take a look at who's playing behind Scott Feldman. We just saw George Springer out there in right field. Colby Rasmussen center. Preston Tucker batting third and playing left field. On the left side of the infield, Luis Valbuena again at third base. Marwin Gonzalez at short. Jose Altuve and Chris Carter on that right side. Jason Castro will be throwing down the fingers for Scott Feldman.
Switch hitting Jimmy Paredes will now stand in. He's the DH. Of course, Jimmy had a number of tries with the Astros, struggled defensively, and then struggled with the bat. But at times looked like he could handle major league pitching. And right now, one of those times, he is really swinging it for the O's. 5th best in the American League at .336 overall. And Paredes just 26 years of age. Has a ball and a strike. Played with Houston in 2011, 12, and 13. Moved on to the Kansas City Royals. Down his 2nd season with the Orioles. Played, though, just 18 games with the O's last year. Pops it foul to the seats. In those 18 games, he took full advantage, hitting .302 with a couple of long balls. And the home run has been a part of his game this year, 6 of them. The Orioles love the production, 25 RBIs already. Shift on in the infield as the count moves to 2-2. He has struck out 29 times in his 31 games. But you don't worry about that a whole lot when you're getting production and batting average. Fastball on the fist, that little cutter fouled off.
It was a good cutter. Firm too, 90 miles an hour. Feldman finding some late life in that fastball these last couple starts. Just as soon as he starts to swing, just that little cut gets off that label.
That last start for Feldman in Detroit on this road trip, 6 innings, allowed 10 hits and 5 runs, 4 of them earned. But he did throw the ball well. We saw him out in Anaheim a few starts back where at least the radar gun there loved what he was bringing. Fastball drilled and over Altuve into right field. But Jimmy Paredes stays hot now as he comes up with a 1-out single here in the 1st inning.
It's not exactly what Scott Feldman wanted that fastball to end up with 2 strikes. It's been part of the issue. But you also got a guy out there in Jimmy Paredes who's been swinging the bat quite well. See Castro sit up, down, and away, and this ball ends up thigh high out over the plate.
Pretty close to center cut. Get yourself a good swing right there, and Paredes did. So Paredes aboard, 1 out for Adam Jones. Fine center fielder for the Orioles. He has turned into one of the game's best in center. As he takes a strike from Feldman. With that base hit, Paredes now hitting .341. We're having quite a season.
Stays around that level, you just have to call him Jim for a level of maturation that he's going through here.
Curveball grounded to short. Can they get two? Gonzalez, Altuve on to Carter, and they get the double play. So the double plays raining here early. Each team with 1 through 1 inning of play, scoreless from Baltimore.
And the Orioles. Evan Gattis will lead things off here in the second. Someone who's feeling more comfortable at the plate these days after a tough start to his year. His numbers obviously aren't going to show how he feels, but he said it's coming around. He is pleased with the way he's playing with runners in scoring position, especially lately. He is our Honda League leader with the way that he's been leading this team with RBIs. He's going out and getting tough pitches at times, adjusting to the approach when needed, trying to do whatever's necessary, guys, to get runs on the board. Astros are actually 11-3 when he drives in a run. Here's the leader's 27 RBI since April 26. He really turned it on that day. You saw some highlights of him in Oakland. That was that date. From then on, driving in these Astros, guys.
Thank you, Julia. And yes, Evan Gattis has been a very effective hitter in terms of driving in the runs. I believe that start in Oakland was the tomahawk job. Or was it? Was that the first of the bunch? I believe so. 203 overall, the batting average.
Started with that caveman bash or that neck-high fastball.
4 ribbies on that day for Evan Gattis. Gattis on the road trip, 5 for 20 with a dinger and 4 RBIs. Hit safely in his last couple of ball games as a 1-1 count. Just the second inning. Each team has turned a double play here this evening. Jose Altuve grounding into one in the first. Adam Jones for the Orioles did the same. And now 3-1 the count. The Astros hit 1 long ball in yesterday's loss. The Orioles, however, hit a pair.
That was almost in his kill zone. Try and climb that ladder on Evan. He'll get on top of it somehow.
Well, he's shown that he can hammer the pitch up and the one down well below the knees. Mr. Extreme for the Astros. It's a leadoff walk here in the second inning. It'll bring up Colby Rasmus. Chris Tillman with some intriguing numbers.
Yeah, the 2012 year, 2.93, and held opponents' averages around 200, which was a good sign. But since then, Numbers escalating a little bit.
And that .287 batting average against this year has to be a bit alarming for the Orioles. Colby Rasmus 0 for his last 8. Well spotted heater. Colby hitting .229. He spent much of his career in the American League and therefore has played in 51 games against the Orioles in that span, hitting .229, but 12 home runs against Baltimore pitching through the years. There's that high strike area not being called so far this evening. Home plate umpire Alfonso Marquez, Dan Bellino at first, at second base Tom Hallion, and the crew chief Bruce Dreckman, or rather Tom Hallion is the crew chief. Bruce Dreckman is down at third. And that down and away heater. So Colby not seeing anything to handle here, has a count of 1-2.
How about that? The ball in the zone is a ball.
Yep.
The 2 out of the zone are a strike.
What if that would leave Alfonso Marquez a little puzzled if he saw what we're seeing right now. There's strike 3 call right there. Out number 1 in the second inning. Second strikeout for Chris Tillman.
Frozen pizza. See much movement out of that AB from Colby Rasmus. Granted, a couple pitches out of the zone, but that one with 2 strikes, pretty good pitch to hit.
Brings up Luis Valbuena, who has not been a hot hitter. 0 for his last 14. On the road trip, just 1 for 18. Get me home. Valbuena grounds it foul. Sometimes when you're scuffling like that, it's just time to go up there, stop thinking about anything, and let it fly.
That reminds me of what Harry Spillman, when I got traded over to the Astros in 2002, 2003, Harry Spillman was a hitting coach. And I think I frustrated him so much with some of the things I was going through. He literally looked at me and said, "Boy, swing it as hard as you can."
Let the chips fall where they may.
Well, you know what's funny is it takes the mechanics out of the swing. In order for you to try and swing as hard as you can, you're going to get it ready a little bit earlier. Maybe get that foot down on time. But it kind of takes the brain out of the process, which you need to do every once in a while.
The brain can really slow you down and mess you up at times.
Especially in math class.
Horrible to use that there. 0-2 the count. Yeah, math class, just react. Don't think about it.
Oof.
Valbuena trying to do that reaction game and bring back the long ball. Still leads the club with 10 of them. And pops it up on the left side. Manny Machado with a long chase and has room, makes the catch, and that'll be out number 2 here in the second inning. And we'll bring up Chris Carter. So now 1 for 19 on the road trip for Luis Valbuena. The Astros 2-3 on this trip, but you look at some of the numbers and you quite frankly have to try to figure out how they picked up the wins. Carter 4 for 19 on the trip. Slams one down the right side, but it slices foul.
Wow, that's a good day right there.
But you know what? You still go for the ice cream first, right?
Oh, you're like, Dad, hold on to this baseball. I got to get this cone crushed. Got to put this thing away real quick.
The 0-1 pitch to Carter. The Astros as a club, offensively, very intriguing. In terms of batting average, they are dead last again at .233. That in the American League. Ground ball left side. Cutting in front is Manny Machado, the third baseman, to get the out on the forced play. And that does it for Houston in the second inning. They get a leadoff walk and strand a man. Scoreless after an inning and a half. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Sights outside Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Beautiful ballpark, and it's been around a while. And we've got some Astros fans on hand. We go to the bottom of the second inning. Chris Davis leads it off, the four-hitter. Adam Jones grounded into a double play to end the first inning. Good looking pitch from Feldman.
It was a real good pitch. We saw two pitches called on Colby Rasmus in worse spots.
Curveball finds the inside corner. The Astros 29-17 record matches the franchise best to start a season after 46 games. 1998 club also 29-17, and they went on to win 102 games that year. For the Astros to win this 7-game road trip, they need a victory today and tomorrow. Little broken bat, looper on the left side. Valbuena with the play, and out number one. Houston Methodist helps us get to know Scott Feldman. Favorite player growing up, Will Clark, Will the Thrill. It's funny, pitchers who love the hitter's hidden talent hitting. So we need to see some of that. Craziest job you ever had. Budweiser delivery boy.
Can you deliver alcohol and be considered a boy?
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing.
See your ID, son.
I think he was a young man at the time. One out here in the second. It brings up Steve Pearce. Strike called at the knees. Steve Pearce with a big, ultimately game-winning home run yesterday. 2-run job, and he hit it to center field. One ball and one strike. Pearce hitting just 192. Plenty of pop. He's playing at second base tonight. Pearce got off to a pretty quick start for the Orioles this year with the home run ball. has hit 3 long balls against Houston in 20 previous games and now has a 3-1 count. Feldman isn't missing by much.
Yeah, he's not missing by much. He's not getting a call from Alfonso Marquez, and the Oriole hitters so far not chasing those pitches off the edges either.
Shift on. Carter, the only defensive player on the right side, and another very close pitch. And Jason Castro turns and maybe has a few comments for Alfonso Marquez.
Those things are over the plate for me. That's nasty.
Callable pitch.
Former catcher A.J. Hinch doesn't seem too happy with him either.
Imagine there's some sort of body language sign between Castro and A.J. Hinch. Castro no doubt thinking he had a strike. First walk issued by Feldman brings up Delman Young, the right fielder. And that fastball finds the strike zone.
Feldman needs those edges. If he doesn't have them, it's going to be tough. Have that pitch start creeping back over the zone. That's when they start getting hit.
Ground ball right side. Altuve will try to start 2 on to Gonzalez, and they do get the 4-6-3. So the Astros have turned a 6-4-3, now the 4-6-3, and they're second on the night. We've played 2 scoreless from Baltimore.
Show us where you root for the Astros and win great prizes from the Astros and Root Sports. Post your pictures with Orbit on social media and tag the Astros and your cable or satellite provider using the hashtag #WhereIsOrbit. Head to astros.com/whereIsOrbit for more information. I would imagine Orbit be an easy guy to find.
You know what else is easy to find is orange here in Baltimore. They certainly wear it for their Orioles, but Astros fans are wearing the orange proudly as well. To the third we go. Scoreless ball game. Jason Castro leads off. He's the 8 hitter. He's hit safely in his last 3. Takes that heater away. Jason Castro had a huge hit for the team in Detroit on Sunday. Drove in a pair of runs. It was a tie ball game at the time. I believe it was a 9-7 lead after that swing. The Astros lost the first 2 games in that Detroit series, then won the final 2 and made it a very nice trip on to Baltimore. 2-1 the count on Castro. The Astros scored 3 yesterday and lost. When they score 4 or more, they are an amazing 25-1 this year. Kind of a hanging slider right there, swung on and missed. Little cutter. The Astros are 14-7 on the road this year. Best road record. And now 3-2 the count. Marwin Gonzalez waits on deck, then back to the top with George Springer. Bat started, they appeal and palms down at third base. Bruce Streckman says no, he did not go through. Leadoff walk. Castro heads down to first. It brings up Marwin Gonzalez.
Take a peek and see what Bruce Streckman made the right call. 3 straight innings with the leadoff man on.
Springer in the first inning with a single. Walk to Gaddis and now Castro in the second and third innings. 3 double plays turned already tonight, 2 by the Astros defense. See the numbers on Marwin, hitting .263, a couple of bombs. Just away. The Astros for a second straight day now trying to win their 30th on the year. They would be the first club to 30 wins. Kansas City has the best record in the American League, 28-16. The Astros with their 29-17 mark, 5.5 games now in front of the LA Angels of Anaheim. Texas Rangers are just a game under 500, 6.5 back. They've won 7 of their last 10, 6 in a row for the Rangers. And they've been a very good road club, 16-10 away from home. So it's taken 45 games for the Astros to get to 29 wins this year. Last year, they didn't do it until their 64th game. 1-2 the count now on Gonzalez. Tillman has that riding fastball. You wouldn't anticipate a lot of ground balls from him. This one hit on a line left field, but there is Lowe to make the play. And out number 1 here in the third. George Springer's 1 for 1 on the night. Just grounded one up the middle in the first inning. Batting average now at .229 for George. Slammed a home run to left center field in yesterday's game. His 7th of the year. And drills one, but hooks it foul down the left side. George has hit safely in 5 of his last 6. And in that span, 3 games in which he's had 2 hits. Another game yesterday where he had 3 hits. So he's coming a long ways. He was at 185 prior to that set of 6 games. See anything different, Blummer, in what Springer's doing at the plate?
He's doing a good job of staying up the middle. I think that's what he's been trying to do the whole time. I just like to see him swinging a little bit more. He's barreling up some more fastballs. Seems like that was what he was getting beat on early on in the year.
Throw over to first base.
First month of April, he was hitting left-handers at a 190 clip. Since May, he's hitting around 333, so that number's looking good. He's got 3 of his home runs in the month of May have been off left-handers.
The Astros lead the league with 65 home runs. They're tied for the leadership in stolen bases at 41. This ball is raked to right field, but right at Delman Young, who tries to get the double play. They won't get it. Is getting back in is Jason Castro. That's 2 outs, and we check in with Julia.
Hey guys, it's Jose Altuve comes up here after a day off a couple of days ago, feeling better after a couple of hits. AJ Hinch talking though about what was behind the struggles, I guess you could say, for some of his at-bats, and it was because he was seeing more off-speed pitches. AJ said that may have had something to do with it just more recently, and the numbers show right here 37% off-speed is what he was seeing earlier in the year. And you see the numbers, 323, he's doing well, but seeing even more off-speed. Pitchers are making adjustments. They're just trying to figure out a way to get this guy out, and they're definitely pitching him much more off-speed here recently. That's from May, and that's of course when he started to slow down just a little bit, guys.
Chopper over the mound, back of second base. Hardy takes it to the bag, and the forced play is out number 3 here in the third. 2.5 innings in the book, scoreless game in Baltimore.
Third inning. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is celebrating 13 years. Watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in true HD with real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, and more. Every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details.
It's the Inner Harbor area here in Baltimore. Scott Feldman set to work the bottom of the third inning. He'll face the bottom 3 in the order for the Orioles: J.J. Hardy, David Lowe, and Caleb Joseph. By the way, the Astros sent condolences to the friends and family of former pitcher Fred Gladding, who passed away over the weekend, age of 78 for Fred. Gladding spent 6 of his 12 major league seasons with the Astros between 68 and 73. And he led the National League in saves in 1969, club record at the time of 29 saves. Fred was also minor league instructor for a number of years. Great guy. Ball on a strike on Hardy. Hits it in the air right field. Springer going back. He's there and makes the catch. 1 up, 1 down in the third. Brings up the left fielder, David Lowe. David Lowe hitting .267. '29-year-old outfielder. Hits it on the ground, and it's foul outside the bag at third, and very close.
Almost looked as if Lowe was trying to do this. Get on top of that fastball. Sure did. Started foul, almost came back fair. It's interesting. A little extra chalk on that pool cue.
Bruce Streckman, that third base umpire. Yeah, it absolutely looked like he was trying to hit one on the ground that way. Curveball, little tapper rolls foul. 0-2 the count. Lowe came up with the Kansas City Royals in 2012. 268 career hitter in the major leagues. Not a lot of opportunity to play. Does have 10 home runs. And he's got the shift on despite that swing going the other way. Little chopper halfway to the mound. Feldman on it. Submarine throw, and it gets away. On down the right side, Altuve retrieves, but not before Lowe gets into second. We'll see how they rule this. A lot of times that barehanded grab will result in a bit of a palm ball throw.
Well, when you get a pitcher who's trained to have the proper mechanics to throw strikes, turn him into a fielder, and he gets in a position like this where he has to barehand it and try and sling it underhand like an infielder would, it usually ends not so well. This one did get away from Feldman.
It's an E1 two-base job, so no hit on the play. With one out, Low in scoring position for the 9-hitter Caleb Joseph. Joseph, the catcher, also homered in yesterday's game. And like Steve Pearce, it was a 2-run home run. Dallas Keuchel did not allow a runner in scoring position all game long. 8-inning complete game. And there's the Astros defense this year, 9th in the league. Or rather, major league ranked 9th.
It's pretty darn good.
It is good stuff. Good pitching, good defense. It's added up to a first place position through 46 games. See what happened with the Angels last night. They eventually won on a base hit, driving in the game-winning run by Albert Pujols after Mike Trout had been walked intentionally. That's a tough decision.
You want to know who's good friends with manager in San Diego?
Mr. Jeff Blum.
A.J. Hinch.
Ah.
I'm sure A.J. probably somehow, some way got in touch with Bud Black, and they had a nice conversation over whose strategy worked best. Because A.J. did that earlier in the year, and it worked to perfection.
Worked beautifully for Houston. Couldn't tell. I think maybe Albert Pujols had broken his bat on the base hit, but still drove in the run.
Hey, hits are hits.
2 balls and a strike. And now 3-1. So with the win, the Angels now a game over 500. And they did pick up a game yesterday on Houston, 5.5 back. They're followed by Texas, Seattle, and then Oakland. Oakland 17-30 after winning 3 straight. First base open, 3-1. And the walk, second issued by Feldman. And a peek at the American League West standings. See any trends there that you think will continue?
I think this is a division that's going to end up just pounding on each other, much like the AL East does it year in, year out. I think there's some quality ball clubs. I'm surprised the Athletics are doing as poorly as they are, but I think those top 4 teams, by the end of it, are just going to be wearing each other out all the way through the season.
Tell you what, the Texas Rangers are a surprise for me. They're playing much better than I thought they might, but maybe one really good reason, Prince Fielder has been terrific.
Well, to have him healthy, this time last year he was on the DL for the rest of the season.
Manny Machado at the plate has a 1-0 count. Unlike yesterday, the Orioles have a man in scoring position. They did not leave a man on yesterday.
Astros were having issues driving guys in scoring position yesterday.
I believe they were 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position yesterday. And now Jason Castro goes out to the mound. First time since 2011 that the Orioles did not leave a man on base.
What does that mean, though? I mean, does that mean they had a couple guys on and actually drove them in? Or because, I mean, they were facing Dallas Keuchel. That's not something you would see against a guy like Dallas Keuchel. All their runs scored on home runs.
It's the first complete game on the year for Dallas. 7th of his career. And 2-1 the count now on Machado. Yeah, I don't know. I guess my first reaction to your question is Keuchel was good. But it was one of those days where, you know, I always hear, guy only made 2 mistakes. I'll put it this way, in my opinion, only 2 mistakes were handled by the Orioles. And now 3-1. Dangerous spot with Machado at the plate.
So if he gets a good sinker down and gets an aggressive Machado to roll another ground ball over for a double play.
The Astros have turned 2 already. Ooh, boy, that was a well-spotted 3-1 fastball.
And there was an equally as good swing on a good pitch, too.
It was that.
He'd already thrown that 2-0 fastball to get to a 2-1 count, so I'm sure in a 3-1 count, Manny Machado was looking in that same vicinity on that outer third.
Three and 2. Runners lead and do not go. Ground ball to short, backhanded by Marwin. Altuve gets the double play. 6-4-3. That's 3 already, as Scott Feldman has gotten through 3 innings holding the Orioles scoreless.
Scoreless here in Baltimore as we head to the top of the 4th. Kick off your weekends at Minute Maid Park with the best Friday night fireworks show in town, presented by Marathon Oil Corporation. The next fireworks fiesta is this Friday when the Astros take on the White Sox. For more information, visit astros.com/fireworks or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. Guys?
Thank you, Julia. We go to the 4th inning. 3-4-5 coming up for the Astros. Preston Tucker leads it off. Be followed by Evan Gattis and Colby Rasmus. 4 double plays turned already. 3 by Houston. Shift on for Preston Tucker.
That last one was a great play for me from Marwin Gonzalez.
On that backhand side. Good footwork, got the right foot down and planted well before the quick release on to Altuve. Preston Tucker, after that pinch hit home run in the final game against Detroit, and hitting 2 in that series, by the way, became the first player in franchise history to hit 2 pinch hit homers in one series. Two and 1 the count. Outfield straight away as that shift is on in the infield. More and more, this is what we're seeing.
I was amazed at how much we saw it in Detroit.
Absolutely.
Both managers.
Big swing, that 91-mile-an-hour heater thrown on by. And now 3-2 the count. Leadoff walk here in the 4th inning. That's the 3rd walk already issued now by Tillman.
4 straight innings where the leadoff hitter has reached base.
Yes.
It's time for the Astros to start moving that guy along and get him across home plate.
3 of those coming via the walk. The other, George Springer, leading off with a hit in the 1st inning.
This might be the first time in MLB history we've had back-to-back hitters that don't use batting gloves. We'll have to go to Elias or Stats or somebody and have them dig that up.
They must keep that stat, right?
Although I would have to say in maybe 1899 they had a couple guys with no batting gloves.
Evan Gattis hits a towering pop-up on the infield. Second baseman Pierce is calling, makes the catch. Out number 1. Ty Cobb wore no batting gloves.
When did batting gloves become invented? Wasn't it?
I've heard various stories on that, and none that I can remember.
Was Dempsey one of those guys?
Actually, I don't know.
Maybe it was a guy who liked to play golf and just brought the golf glove onto the baseball field one day.
I know initially I did that.
3 guys in a row. Look at Colby Rasmus.
No batting gloves.
This is the all Sands batting glove lineup.
1 out, Tucker at first base. Colby Rasmus struck out looking in the 2nd. It's a hanging curveball and fouls it back.
Colby's got a couple bombs on Tillman. Talked about how he played for Toronto in this AL East. Saw him quite a bit. That's a good look at him.
Next pitch, number 50 for Tillman. And now 0-2 on Rasmus. And again, that shift on 3 infielders on the right side. Colby's not one that I can see ever conceding and saying I'm going to try to hit a ground ball on the left side.
I agree.
But at some point, that's got to become an issue, doesn't it? If everybody starts loading up infielders on one side or the other.
I think it's all personal preference. If you're willing to give in and try and get yourself some hits, then you may be going in the cage or in BP trying to work that other way or create a scenario where you're getting those base hits. But some guys, the ego gets in the way and they just want to rip it through there and prove they can beat it with a swing.
0-2 on Colby. Tillman with a couple of punch outs. And the high heat gets another. Second time for Rasmus. That's 2 outs. Tucker still at first base for Valbuena. Valbuena now sees that batting average down at 193. Popped to 3rd in the 2nd inning. Hits it in the air down the left field side. Long run for David Lowe. And can't get there. It drops safely, but in foul territory.
Well, after some digging, Ash.
You got it, huh?
Hawk Harrelson.
First one to wear batting. You know what? I think I have heard his name mentioned there.
And I think he wore the batting gloves during the game to protect his hands for when he played golf.
Well, you can't mess up the golf swing. Of course, Hawk was and is a heck of a golfer.
Yeah.
Well, you can put that one on the board.
Boom.
This ball is hit hard down the left field side, and Lowe will not get there. One hop up against the wall. Tucker being waved home. The throw from Hardy, and he is out at the plate. Perfect relay between Lowe, Hardy, and on to Joseph, and that's the final out of the inning. So it's a double for Valbuena, but still a scoreless game.
Turned into a double play. Fastball up in the zone. Cut on it. Gets it off the end of the bat. 4-6-3 on that double play. One more time. A good sinker that ran in a little bit. Manny Machado hit it hard, but turned into a great play by Marlon Gonzalez to start the third double play on the evening for the Houston Astros. They had 45 coming into the game to lead baseball. Now they have 48. We'd have to assume they're still leading. That's 6 double plays in the last 2 days for those Houston Astros.
Dallas Keuchel obviously creating 3 yesterday. Dallas now 6-1 on his season. Still leads the league in ERA. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning, a scoreless game. 3 double plays, as Blummer says, turned by the Astros. Jimmy Paredes leads it off. He has the only Oriole hit on the night. Raked one into right field with 1 out in the 1st inning. But then was aboard on that Adam Jones double play. Line shot through the left side with that shift on. Nobody to contest that line drive. So Paredes now 2 for 2 on the night. And we're getting a glimpse as to why he's so good this year in terms of the batting average.
Yeah, it's crazy. You'd like to see him cool off here against the Astros, because it is kind of nice to see guys get a change of scenery and start hitting the ball well. But right here just does a great job of dropping that barrel onto that tough sinker. Might have been down out of the zone, but when you're swinging the bat well and you're able to get the barrel to it, this is what happens. Another guy in first. Good chance for a double play.
There you go. Set it up. Here's the deal, though. Each of the 3 double plays has ended an inning. They might have to wait an out here. Adam Jones at the plate. And the pitch gets away from Castro. And now Paredes moves into second base. That's going to put a crimp in the double play possibilities. It is a wild pitch. Sometimes you bring that glove up trying to catch the ball out of the dirt, and it just creates bad angles.
What does the pitch have to look like to you to make it be a wild pitch?
Typically it's just anything in the dirt is what scorers have grown accustomed to providing wild pitch. What about you?
If a pitcher can't execute? No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
No, I agree. That was my initial thought, is that anything that bounces out in front of home plate is usually put on the pitcher.
Almost guaranteed.
There's some short hops they get away with every now and then, but for the most part, anything that bounces is on them.
Well, in like manner around the infield, if, for example, you as an infielder make a throw in the dirt and it's not handled by somebody, you're going to get the E, right?
Exactly.
3-0 the count. Green light maybe for Jones. Takes ball 4. Runners at first and second, nobody out for the cleanup man, Chris Davis. Brent Strom will take the opportunity to head out to the mound.
Looks like he's on a mission.
He does.
Scott Feldman barely got the ball back, and Strom was on his way out there. Scott Feldman kind of creating himself a situation here.
Some of your top Orioles.
It's all kinds of production. Adam Jones, it's crazy to think that he was in that Eric Bedard trade going from Seattle to Baltimore. Been a nice pickup for them. The production from Chris Davis has been off the charts. And Manny Machado's just starting out his career. Even though he's got 4 years in already.
Chris Davis in 2013 had leading 53 homers, leading 138 RBIs. Foul tip for strike 1. Davis 0 for 1, popped to third. In that 2013 season, with all those homers and RBIs, he was an all-star. You would guess that. Third in MVP voting, Silver Slugger Award winner, and struck out 199 times. This one lands down the left field side, handled by a fan with a cap. Resourceful.
Nice grab. High fives all the way around. You do that in the field of play, you get 3 bases, don't you? What a grab.
Nicely done.
How about the forearm dexterity to be able to hold that hat in your hand as that ball lands in there?
But you got to act like you've done it before, though. Breaking ball got him. So Feldman gets the key first out on the strikeout of Davis. And now the double play can come into play. Steve Pearce comes to the plate.
Good job of Feldman pitching out of that situation with Chris Davis up there with all that pop.
Feldman gets his first strikeout of the night. Steve Pearce drew a walk in the second inning. He was aboard when Delman Young grounded into a double play. Breaking ball to start him. Pearce hitting just 192. How do you go about trying to get that ground ball for a 4th double play on the night? Sometimes a sinking fastball at the bottom of the knees will get it for you.
Yeah, we've seen a little bit of everything, haven't we? Ball down in the zone. We saw on a breaking ball. Saw a cutter up in the zone that was rolled over. Then just a pretty good sinker down the middle.
It's whatever works. Pearce had home runs in the opening game of the year and one more the next day for the Orioles. So he started out the year with a couple of home runs in 2 games.
That is a good pitch. Location. If you can get a guy to take a fastball on a 2-0 count, that means you located it pretty good.
because you know he's looking for the heater. 3-1 the count. Now the tough spot. Do you concede to the fastball, where you have to be able to get good location to get the out? A couple of managers grinding it out. The Astros 12 games over 500. The Orioles 2 games under, but just 2 back in the East. And now 3-2.
That one might have been too good to hit.
Does that happen?
I don't know. Let's see. That was right down the middle for me. I guess in the outer third, but well within the zone.
You would think if you're sitting dead red and you get that pitch, you're going to get a big time hack. Runners hold, and the ground ball is foul.
Oh, took off. Turned it a little bit more of a runner.
Ooh, that's a good ground ball creator when you get that kind of movement.
Especially get in there on the hands.
In that American League East, Tampa Bay still leading a half game in front of the Yankees. Orioles 2 back. The Red Sox are 3 games under 500, 2.5 back, and followed by Toronto. Again the 3-2, and again the foul ball. In the American League Central, it's Kansas City 2 games in front of Minnesota. Minnesota Twins are 8 games over 500, 2 games back of the Royals. Detroit is 3 games back, and then Cleveland. Cleveland, by the way, has won 7 of 10. And the White Sox. Runners go. Strike 3 called. Throw down to third and safe. Valbuena thinks they got him. That is Jimmy Paredes, the lead runner. Adam Jones into second base. And if this does not change, it'll be a double steal for these Baltimore Orioles.
If it does change, that'll turn into the 4th double play on the night.
Got that right.
Strike him out, throw him out. Pretty good catch and release from Castro.
And Castro's been really good throwing out runners.
Ooh. Valbuena snapped that down pretty quick. Hand gets in there.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think that's going to get overturned. And well, AJ's going to go ahead and ask for a review of this play. I'm sure he wishes he could see the replay that we have seen. So the umpires confer on the third base side. We'll get a ruling, and I would imagine pretty quickly on this one.
Yeah, especially from that. We had a good angle to look at it. I wonder if they're getting something else underneath. We're going to take our time and look at it, just like the umpires are in New York. Throw there in time, just a little bit high, but you can see that tag up by the elbow, bicep. Kind of allowed. I think this is a good angle right here.
You know that the Orioles, prior to this pitch, had stolen just 13 bags on the year. So they are clearly not a running team. Jason Castro on the other side has thrown out about 40% of the would-be Steelers this year. He has been absolutely fantastic up until this double steal. 18 stolen bases with Castro behind the plate. 12 had been caught, and a rate right at 40%. The fans seeing up on the big board in right center field that they believe they have a double steal here. It is a double steal. So give Paredes and Jones stolen bases as Pierce strikes out. 2 outs, runners in scoring position now for Delman Young. Scott Feldman had not struck out a man until maybe he really needed one. He got Chris Davis and now Steve Pierce here for the 2 outs in the 4th inning. But again, runners at second and third. Line shot, left field, coming on Tucker, and he makes the sliding grab. Very nice reaction in left field by Preston Tucker, and Scott Feldman gets out of another inning. We played 4 of scoreless baseball here this evening.
Zeros on the board in that run column. 2 hits apiece between the Astros and Orioles. New to Houston and looking to get to know the city better? With our Welcome to Houston package, we invite you to tour Minute Maid Park and enjoy an Astros game this Saturday, May 30th. For tickets, visit astros.com/welcome to Houston or call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
That was Utah Street, back of the right field area here. They've got the plaques out there for guys that have hit home runs that have landed all the way that far. Robbie Grossman among those plaques. As Chris Carter leads off the 5th inning, a scoreless game, 2 hits for each side. 1 error on the night, that committed by the Astros. But Scott Feldman has gotten 3 double plays behind him, a couple of strikeouts, and a nice play by Preston Tucker to end that 4th. By the way, the 2 stolen bases, Jimmy Paredes and Adam Jones, number 2 in each case for the guys. Here in the 5th inning, bottom 3 in the order, Chris Carter, Jason Castro, and Marwin Gonzalez. Carter on the 2-0.
Oof.
Not the best of swings on that fastball.
But that bottom line right there tells you there's a chance.
After July 4th, he turned it on. 24 home runs from that point. We mentioned many times that 37 bombs last year. Manny Machado with the play, out number 1.
That's what everybody in the Astros organization is hoping for, that he does the same thing. Maybe just be his thing, just to be an incredibly slow starter, but it just explodes to finish out the season.
What do you do if you see another year like that this year, and then you look at next year? How do you start the year?
I put him on the 60-day DL, collect the insurance money to pay his contract, and then I bring him back on July 4th and let the fireworks go.
Nicely played. Jason Castro draws a walk in the 3rd inning.
Think there'd be a grievance anywhere in there?
Who would file that grievance?
I was going to say the insurance and then the Players Association.
Little cutter through their first strike. Ball and a strike on Jason. Yeah, you know what? It works for me. I'm not going to argue with you.
Oh, man. It would be incredibly impressive if he pulled off the same feat that he did last year.
Ground ball first base side. Handled by Davis. He'll go to the bag. 2 outs here in the 5th inning. You know, I was thinking from Chris Carter's perspective, if he found out that that happened again for a 2nd straight year, would he be opposed to your ploy?
Get that written into the contract. Listen, I'm going to shut it down
Listen,
April.
You guarantee me you won't play me in the first 3 months of the season. We got a deal.
And I'll give you 37 home runs to finish the season.
Well,
you know, the crazy thing is, he's capable of it.
Yep.
29 home runs the year before that, and then 37 last year. So the power is there. It's just how do we plug that in a little bit sooner?
Marwin Gonzalez is the 9 hitter. Hit one sharply, lining out to left field back in the 3rd inning. The Astros with 2 hits on the night. Same number for the Orioles. This ball is driven to left field. Going back, David Lowe. Right at the front of the warning track and makes the catch. So twice tonight, Marwin drives it to left field, but he's 0 for 2. The 5th inning, a scoreless ball game. Scott Feldman has loosened it up here for the inning. He'll face the bottom 3 in the order: J.J. Hardy, David Lowe, and Caleb Joseph. Nice crowd on hand here in Baltimore.
They are happy to be seeing those.
Yeah, they didn't have quite this many for one of their ball games back in April.
Can't even imagine what that was like.
They had to play a ball game here without a single fan. Media members were here and calling games, and apparently some of the players could hear the games being called down on the field, much to their dismay.
I was say that could go either way.
Strike on the outside edge. J.J. Hardy fly to right field in the 3rd inning. Of course, I guess if you're 4 for 4 and you hear the guy upstairs calling that out, you're probably not too upset about that.
Well, and how about if you hit a home run in that game? Nobody cheered. That has got to be one of the more bizarre things, to go deep, feel pretty good about yourself, and have everybody just crickets.
Well, you remember in spring training playing the B games at 10 o'clock, and
yeah,
well, there'd be about 8 people sitting in the seats.
You get the golf clap from your wife and a couple family friends.
Yep. Ground ball is short. Marwin handles it, out number 1 here in the 5th inning.
Time now for our Geico quote of the day. It's from the Baltimore PA announcer on April 29th of this year. Today's official paid attendance is 0. Some guys trying to have a little bit of fun with it. And there's a home run from Chris Davis that I'm sure somebody in the following week found. Some fans outside the gates.
So there would have been some noise from those folks, I guess.
Distant. But how bizarre.
Little cutter on the inside edge. 0-1 the count. Left-hand hitting David Lowe at the plate. Reached on an E1. Hit a little dribbler out toward the mound. Scott Feldman came on and barehanded, and then from his knees tried to submarine a throw to first base to get him, and threw it away down the line. This ground ball will find Marwin Gonzalez's glove, and 2 outs on ground balls to short here in the inning. Base is empty for Caleb Joseph.
I want to say that the Orioles were supposed to have a day off tomorrow. No, Thursday. Sorry. And they have to make up 2 games on that Thursday against the Chicago White Sox.
The only reason I can tell you that I know that's a fact is I heard the weather report coming in this week, and I thought, I wonder if the Astros get rained out. Do these teams have a matching off day on Thursday? And then I found out that the Orioles were already booked for a doubleheader, and a sigh of relief was heard out of me.
Well, are you ready for what the White Sox are doing right now? They're in Toronto. They were supposed to fly to Houston and have that day off in Houston, but they have to stop here in Baltimore, play 2 games, and then head on down to Houston to finish out that series with, or hopefully that road trip in Houston. That has got to be a daunting task.
Now, what is the timing for those 2 games on the doubleheader?
I think they moved it up to 1 and 4.
Back to back, though?
Yes. They originally wanted to have a later doubleheader, 4 and 7 o'clock at night, but Chicago called up and said, we can't do that. We got to be in Houston the next day.
Well, ultimately, I mean, if you're looking selfishly, that should possibly benefit the Astros.
I would imagine, especially if the bullpens get exhausted.
Line drive into left field. 2-out single for Joseph. Hit number 3 for the O's. Well, I would think that for either one of those clubs that day, the manager is going to say to maybe both starting pitchers, hey, look, tough luck if things don't go so well, but I'm not going to be very quick to go to the bullpen.
And players know that, but I mean, pitchers, I think, know that too. Kind of see the situation going in, and as good as managers are these days, I'm sure they're letting them know, but your mentality as a pitcher, no matter what happens, you're going to have to go out there and eat up some innings.
Speaking of which, yesterday, and I need to find this game. We're in the 5th inning, a scoreless game. Leadoff man Manny Machado at the plate. 0 for 2 on the night. Has flied out and grounded into a double play. Ball and a strike. Yesterday, the New York Yankees were hosting the Kansas City Royals. Of course, all of a sudden, my computer's going to stop.
Darn technology.
1 and 2 now on Machado. 91 on the heater from Scott Feldman.
Damn,
that ball well.
He's throwing it extremely well. Getting good backdoor movement on that sinker, and Alfonso Marquez is accommodating too. That pitch looked like a strike, but he's gotten a couple pitches off that outer edge to right-handers.
14-1 win, the Yankees over the Royals yesterday. They got 8 in the 1st inning. We'll talk about that a little bit later as the ground ball goes to Altuve. Machado jogs it out, and that's going to do it. No runs a hit, they leave a man. We played 5 scoreless.
by your local steel dealers. Take a look at what George Springer did to Chris Tillman that first at bat, taking that pitch on that outside corner. Got it a little bit off the end of the bat, still got some barrel on it, enough to get it through up the middle. But you look at George's hot and cold zones. The red is above the major league average, the blue below. You see that outside corner where that pitch was. He likes to get extended. Big kid, big arms. What's crazy to me is this blue section down the middle. You think that'd be a nice hot spot for George to go after, but he can turn on the ball and every once in a while get that pitch away and go with it.
So I'd love to see the scouting reports that result from that.
Well, how would you explain it to the pitcher? That would be the fun part, is to see the pitcher's reaction when the pitching coach says, look, he's not very good down the middle.
Well, you know that big, strong, talented guy, George Springer?
Yeah.
Here's the way we want you to pitch him. There it is. Fly ball. Deep to center field. Adam Jones is back and tracking and makes the catch on the warning track. One out here in the 6th inning.
He just missed that pitch. Caught that on the barrel. Get a look where that is. Well, you could argue that that was in the middle.
Yep.
Still, it was a good swing. He's swinging the bat well out of that leadoff spot right now, too.
Base hit. He's lined to right field. Fly deep to center. I would say some of the best swings we've seen for a while.
Some of the more consistent swings we've seen.
Jose Altuve is 0 for 2 on the night. Batting average at .296 for Jose. Had 2 hits in yesterday's game. And you had to feel like, okay, this is the beginning. He's going to get it rolling again. It's funny to say about a guy, but you know he's better than .296. Okay, back real quickly on yesterday, the Yankees hosting KC. The Royals got slammed by the Yankees 14-1. 8 of those runs coming in the first, 3 in the second against Jeremy Guthrie. Guthrie, 1 inning, allowed 11 earned runs. Hot shot up the middle, diving stop. Pierce from his knees, he'll get the out. And Altuve is flat robbed here in the 6th.
Altuve hit the ball hard, just can't catch a break. Stevie Pierce. Saw him at first base yesterday, but at second base today, picking up for Scope, who is still on the DL. Made a great play.
Guy that's not even known really as a second baseman. That's a heck of a play, is right. And now Preston Tucker 0 for 1 with a strikeout. He's also drawn a walk. And then was thrown out at home plate in the 4th inning. He had a leadoff walk in the inning. 2 outs later, he was still at first. Luis Valbuena hit one on a hop up against the left field wall down the left field side in the corner. And the Astros sent Tucker to the plate, but a 7-6-2 relay was able to get Tucker and the final out of that 4th inning. Anyway, Jeremy Guthrie wound up seeing his ERA go from 4.70 to 6.70 in 1 inning.
Ouch.
2-1 the count. That must be a pretty effective fastball if he can throw the 2-1 right on by Tucker. Still under it a bit. Tucker has the count even at 2-2. By the way, with Altuve just being robbed right there, Altuve leads All-American League second baseman in the All-Star voting now.
It's good to see.
If Altuve can make it on the fan voting, he'll become just the 7th player in Astros history to earn a fan-elected start in the All-Star game. But his stature has risen considerably after last year.
Robinson Cano on that list.
He gets him. I do not see his name, but I'm sure he is looking. Strikeout of Tucker, a 1-2-3 6th inning. We have not seen a run. Book your low fare right now at southwest.com. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. Sights and maybe not the sounds of the Baltimore Harbor. Oh, quite a beautiful place.
Well, that's a gorgeous harbor. Are you kidding me? That was a great place to hang out.
Jimmy Paredes leads off and hammers one down the right field side. It's not going to get out, but off the wall. Extra bases for Jimmy Paredes. Springer gets it back in. It's a leadoff double and hit number 3 on the night for Paredes.
He's got that stroke going this year, that is for sure. As mighty as the struggles were in an Astros uniform, he's making it look easy in the Orioles one. Leans back on this first pitch fastball right at the bottom of the zone. Just hit it a little too low on that trajectory. He wasn't able to get it over that short right field porch, even though he thought he got it.
In 2011, when Paredes first came to the big leagues with the Astros, he was pretty effective with the bat, hitting .286. But the next 2 years, he hit .189 and .192, respectively. And then started what a lot of guys do, moving on, and has figured it out in an Orioles uniform. Adam Jones at the plate, 0 for 1. Has drawn a walk and stolen a base. He and Paredes teamed up for a double steal in the 4th inning. Adam Jones, probably the guy you worry most about in this order for the Orioles.
Yeah, he's been a pretty consistent power source, high average guy, RBI producer.
.29 years of age now. 2-1 the count. 6th inning, scoreless game. Been a guy who puts up a lot of games. Speaking of Adam Jones, played in 159 last year, 160 the year before, and all 162 in 2012. It's a ground ball left side, and Marwin's only play to get an out at first base, moving to third, Jimmy Paredes, and that was a dangerous but worthwhile try when it's all said and done.
Yeah, some gutsy base running. We got a pitch by pitch right now with Chris Davis coming to the plate against Scott Feldman. It's going to be brought to you by your local steel dealers. Breaking out the hammer for that first pitch strike. Gets in the kitchen. Chris Davis can't quite put it in play, and then just kind of a lazy swing and miss on a nasty breaking ball down and in to get the punch out on 3 pitches. Be a good time for that right here.
That punch out came in the 4th inning, and Scott Feldman could use another one right here. Shift on, but the infield drawn in. 1 out, man at third. Ooh. Fastball was pretty close. Nice play, by the way, by Marwin Gonzalez.
It's actually I think it was a great read by Jimmy Paredes.
Have to agree.
Because normally when that ball is hit on the right side of the runner, it's a no-go situation. But I think he recognized how hard that ball was hit and that Marwin was going to be charging in and be unable to make that throw to third.
Yeah, I don't think Marwin had any way to get his feet in position to make that throw to third. You would know much better than I would, but very tough if any shot at all.
As an infielder, you got to make sure on a ground ball that you get an out.
Yep.
And I think Marwin realized he was not going to get that out at third base. This is a good look at it.
See if you see any shot there, right there.
It would have had to been like a backhand flip. Yep. That's just an unorthodox play for a shortstop.
Now, if it was, I don't know, 9th inning of a tie game, World Series postseason, maybe worth the effort. But here, I think ultimately, as it's now 1-2 on Chris Davis, if you had the chance to think it out, and I don't know that Marwin would have had this chance, but Chris Davis waits on deck, maybe a guy that you can get the strikeout on, and ultimately it could play perfectly into Feldman's hands.
Yeah, but just you have to make sure you get it out.
Agreed. No, in fact, I was maybe inarticulately describing that scenario where you decide, let's go ahead and get the out at first base, and maybe you can strike out Davis for the second out.
Yeah, it's a situation where you don't want that guy to advance. I'm sure the middle infielders would have been jockeying Jimmy Paredes at second base a little bit closer to keep him from getting that good jump, too.
2-2.
How about the battle between ex-teammates? Chris Davis, Scott Feldman, used to be on the Rangers together, and the Orioles briefly. Feldman getting traded over from the Cubs to the Orioles for about 3 months. It always makes for good conversation the next day. Who got the best of who?
Tries to come up the ladder with that. Scott's had that nice little cutter he's used effectively tonight.
Usually on guys like Chris Davis who are bigger, longer, stronger arms, you can elevate that cutter in on the inside and blow him up a little bit.
Well, you mentioned that year for Feldman with Baltimore. Half a season, 15 starts. In that season, he also had 15 starts with the Cubs. It really was an intriguing year prior to coming to the Astros. Hits one in the air to right field. Is it deep enough? The catch is made. Here comes the runner. The throw off line. And the Orioles take the 1-0 lead. Sac fly, Chris Davis.
Pretty good at bat. That's the one pitch that actually didn't get in the kitchen of Chris Davis. He was able to reach out over the plate. Look at Jason Castro going down to block this, but Davis with that big uppercut able to scoop that one into right field. That was actually setting up for me to be a pretty close play at home plate.
Yeah, if that throw had been on line from George Springer, who has a very strong throwing arm, you never know. Could have been a fourth double play on the night. But instead, 1-0 O's as Steve Pearce stands in. Pearce has walked and struck out. Four Baltimore hits, just 2 for Houston. Two and one the count here in the 6th inning. Chris Tillman has struck out just 4 through 6 innings. But at times he's had a fastball that he brings up in the strike zone that has appeared to be very tough to get to. 3-1 the count.
Pearce was going for the hit by pitch.
Hit in the air to center field. Rasmus moving back and under, staring up into the dark sky, makes the catch. 6 innings in the books, 1-0 Orioles on top.
Head to the top of the 7th. Time now for a look at our upcoming schedule presented by Progressive. There is one more game right here in Baltimore. I believe a 4:35 start on that game on getaway day before hopping on the Bird after hopefully beating the Birds. Have that day off in Houston on Thursday. Have the ball club regroup. Then a big weekend series against the Chicago White Sox, who may be a little fatigued getting in, and then it's another 4-game set against these Baltimore Orioles before heading north of the border to compete against another set of flying animals named Blue Jays. It's a lot of baseball with only 2 days off.
Game number 47 tonight. For the Astros here in the 7th inning, down a run, Evan Gattis stands in. Has walked and popped out. Chris Tillman has allowed just 2 hits through the 6th inning. Leadoff single by George Springer in the 1st inning. Luis Valbuena had the double that ended the 4th inning, with Preston Tucker being gunned down at the plate. Two 2-0 the count.
If the Astros are going to answer, you would assume these guys coming up could pull it off. A lot of home runs and a bunch of RBIs.
Outside corner is found. It's 2-1. The Astros start the night 6th in the American League in runs scored per game. Very nicely spotted.
That outside corner to right-hander just starting to open up. First couple innings, Alfonso wasn't giving that.
Hit on a line down the right field side. Delman Young won't get there. And now drops the ball. Heading to second, Evan Gattis. And we'll see how it's ruled. But Gattis aboard at second base represents the tying run. Nobody out here in the 7th. Hit number 3 for Houston. It's a double all the way for Evan.
There we go. Pitch down in the zone. The tough thing about being a right fielder and the right-handed hitter hits you this fly ball right here is that it's tailing away from you. It just seems like you're running your heart out. You never get to that spot where you're able to catch it. But that last little bobble is what, for me, allowed Gattis to get into second base.
7 doubles on the year for Gattis. I was about to say the Astros 6th in the league in runs per game at 4.46. Rasmus swings through it. The Orioles right behind them at 4.43, so almost identical in terms of scoring runs. And that's the way games 1 and 2 here in the series are going. About as tight as you can get. Oh, and 2 the count. You'd love to at least get the runner over, but Colby Rasmus, not a guy who intentionally hits ground balls. He's a pull hitter. And you let him take his shots.
Good time to pull one, move that runner along, get him 90 feet closer to tying this thing up.
Down on strikes, though. And for Colby, that's 3 times tonight. 3 of the 5 strikeouts picked up by Tillman. With 1 out, it brings up Luis Valbuena, who has one of the 3 hits, that double in the 4th inning. And again, it came with 2 outs. Preston Tucker aboard. Tucker tried to score on the play, but was thrown out at the plate. A perfectly executed relay between Lowe, the left fielder, Hardy, the shortstop, and Joseph, the catcher.
Good swing. It's the Astros' time of night as you look at Pat Neshek out there in the bullpen, but this is when the Astros start doing their damage. This is a close game. Good job by Feldman keeping this game nice and tight.
The double in the 4th inning by Valbuena, his 6th on the year. Chops the curveball. 0-2 the count. One-run games set up nicely for the Astros. In one-run games this year, they are 11-5. Little chopper first base side. It comes in out late. So on out number 2, moving into third base is Evan Gattis. And now it's up to Chris Carter.
Treat your employees, host clients, or bring your church or youth group out for an experience to remember with Astros group tickets. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com/groups to reserve your group and enjoy special pricing and great benefits.
Chris Carter 0 for 2 on the night, 4 for 21 on the road trip. Batting average for Chris at 170. Very well spotted, 94 miles an hour. You go to Anaheim, it's a sea of red. Same story in St. Louis. Here in Baltimore, sea of orange. And some of that orange mixed in. Astros fans.
There are. It's good to see.
Two and one the count. The other big number for the Astros, or one of them, when they hit a home run, they're 22-10, but they have not hit a home run tonight. Line drive, base hit. That'll tie it. Chris Carter, 1 for 3 on the night and had a very good swing on this shot. RBI number 23 for Chris.
Oh, smoked. Did a good job laying off some pitches. He got that strike called against him early on. Took 2 pitches to get to that 2-1 count. And we talked about how Tillman, his control has been a little erratic, to say the least, throughout the course of the season. And yes, he's walking a lot of guys, but you can also lose your control in the strike zone. And we just saw it right there with a fastball down the middle. Thank goodness the big man hit it.
So Carter comes up with a very big one here in the 7th inning. And now a tie game. Jason Castro with the shift on.
See if Tillman gets wild in the zone on that pitch to Chris Carter, and that's up in the zone down the middle.
Or I might ask, is that exactly what the Orioles intended to do there? Chris Carter has had his struggles on pitches up. Castro at .229 on the year. Orioles now getting some movement in their bullpen. Pat Neshek continues to throw. 2-1 the count on Jason Castro. Castro is all of a sudden looking at a steady set of shifts on him when he comes to the plate.
Castro does a good job of staying inside the ball and trying to go up the middle the other way. But it seems like with these shifts, he's seeing a little more off speed right there. And sometimes the tendency is to get out ahead of those off speed pitches and roll them over. So I wonder if that's the opponent's way of pitching into that shift against Jason Castro.
By the way, for Chris Carter, before that base hit driving in the run here in the 7th inning, runners in scoring position and 2 outs, he was hitting an even 100, 2 for 20 on the season. This one's drilled to the gap in right center field, and Carter's going to have to go. It goes to the wall. Here comes Carter to third. Being waved home. Castro will stop at second. It's 2-1 Houston. And now Castro almost with a shot to get to third base, but another key 2-out hit driving in a run.
What I tell you about the 7th inning, Ash?
Amen.
These guys get it done late. A little bit of flair, too. These 2-out RBIs are becoming a trend with these Houston Astros, especially on this road trip.
7th inning on. The Astros start the night with 81 runs scored, easily the best in Major League Baseball. And they add 2 more to it here in the 7th inning.
Not an awful pitch, but still caught a lot of the zone. And sometimes, well, I think with Jason Castro, what he does is try and hit that fastball up the middle the other way, so he is ready to hit a breaking ball like this as well as he did. Great piece of hitting at a great moment in the game.
Tillman will stay on. Chris Carter with a big smile on his face. Not only the 2-out RBI hit, but scoring from first base. And you could see it instantly with that ball going to the gap that it was go time for Chris.
What was a bigger shock? Him scoring from first, you're getting the base hit?
I'm not touching that.
I'm just messing.
Well, when Gonzalez hitting .258 will stand in. And an RBI opportunity with 2 outs.
How about the Astros picking up their pitcher, Scott Feldman, also pitching himself a great game.
Marwin hits one in the air to center field. Moving back and under is Adam Jones. That'll do it. But the Astros get 2 very big 2-out runs and lead 2-1.
History is brought to you by MD Anderson. We were just looking at Rich Dauer, the first base coach for the Houston Astros. He's a 2-time College World Series champ with USC. But how about a World Series champ with the Baltimore Orioles? That was 1983 when they won, and he still holds 2 AL single-season fielding records. Get this, in 1978, 86 consecutive errorless games, also 425 straight errorless chances for a second baseman. That home run he hit right there, though, was in 1979 when the Orioles went to the World Series facing the Pirates. That was Game 7, guys, and he talked about that home run. They ended up losing, only scoring that 1 run in Game 7, that solo shot in the 3rd inning. He said it's everybody's dream to hit a home run in Game 7 of the World Series. He sprinted to first, not thinking it was going to get out, and then he floated around the bases after hitting that home run. Great to catch up with Rich Dauer, as he's very excited what he's seen from this Astros ballpark.
Thanks a lot, Julia. Bottom of the 7th inning we go. Delman Young leads it off, followed by Hardy and Lowe. And Pat Neshek comes on to work here in the 7th inning. The Astros on top for the first time on the night, 2-1 Houston. Line drive center field, leadoff single. Delman Young picks it up. He's 1 for 3 on the night, and it brings up J.J. Hardy.
see what Neshek does with that leadoff hit, but that triumvirate out there, and that bullpens have been pitching quite well. Neshek, Gregerson, Qualls, Fields, these guys have been putting up fantastic numbers. The ERA, pretty darn competitive at 2.14. The Kansas City Royals bullpen is just lights out. But those guys are ranking first in a lot of other categories. This is why they were brought here, to close out these tight ball games. We saw it that third game in Detroit, 3-2 ball game. They closed that one out. On to do it here in Baltimore.
The Astros would love to turn a fourth double play on the night. They got 3 in the first 3 innings.
That'd be a huge help right now.
Scott Feldman winds up working 6 innings. He's in a position to pick up the win tonight. 4 hits against him and 1 run, 3 walks and a couple of strikeouts. Ball hit in the air to right field. Springer's there. Holding and back to the bag is Delman Young, out number 1. We'll bring up David Lowe. Now this bullpen has been quite spectacular. Bottom line. And they've got a number of contributors in that regard. Lowe 0 for 2 on the night. Left-hand hitter takes a strike. Infield pretty much straight up. Playing for the double play. Catcher Caleb Joseph waits on deck. The looper is fouled on the left side. 0-2 the count as Neshek gets in front. Do you have any pitchers that just have the funky deliveries that left you shaking your head, going back to the bench, trying to figure out why you couldn't pick up the baseball on them?
There were a couple guys. The kid in Cincinnati, Scott Williamson, I think his name was, closed out for them. I just, for whatever reason, could not pick the ball up out of his hand. Then there was a guy in Pittsburgh, Mike Williams. Pick it up late, he'd blow me up with 86 miles an hour and a changeup that I've never seen before in my life.
1-2 the count. And then the guy you can't pick it up on, there's somebody on the bench who says, I see him great.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I rate this guy, and they look forward to hitting him. It's, for whatever reason,
just a crazy game. Yeah, it's not like everybody sits on the bench and is in agreement with everybody. Now, there are some guys that everybody's going to say, oh, yeah, this guy is just pure filthy. Fly ball left field. Back is Tucker. He'll make the catch. Retreating to first base, Delman Young. 2 outs here in the 7th inning. So that leadoff single still has Young at first base. And now the 9-hitter, Caleb Joseph, comes to the plate. Two outs now. Caleb Joseph is 1 for 1. He has walked and singled. Neshek gets in front. The Astros would love to win one tonight where the opposition scores first. Up until this point on the season, when that's been the case, 9-14 is what the Astros find themselves. Doubt that A.J. Hinch is worried about such numbers. The Astros pitching staff third in the league in ERA at 3.58.
Pitching staff, that's a good number.
The entire staff, you betcha.
Nice.
Yep.
I'm not sure what the number is, but I feel that the starting staff has been going deep into ball games. We're not accustomed to that. Usually that bullpen's getting burned out a little bit, but their ability to pitch deep into these games, going 6-7 innings. Yesterday, Keuchel getting credit for the complete game, but he went 8 innings. That helps out your bullpen immensely.
I think that's a great point, and I think it has made a world of a difference for the Astros bullpen. That is second in the league in ERA. Kansas City at 1.79. The Astros second at 2.14. Those are great numbers. Just getting a piece and staying alive, Caleb Joseph.
Makes it easy for A.J. Hinch. You can put all the names in a hat out there in that bullpen. He pulls one out, you're going to have some decent success.
Wide open right side of the infield. The 1-2 is high. Strike 3 called. Got him looking. Konishek gets a big strike out of Caleb Joseph, and that does it for the O's in the 7th inning. Astros on top.
Birthday celebration alien style this Saturday. Orbit and his mascot friends will host a birthday brunch, and on Sunday 10,000 fans will receive Orbit face glasses presented by the Smile Generation. For more info, visit astros.com/orbitbirthday or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. We'll see Jose Altuve due up here in very shortly. He's leading the All-Star voting, second baseman in the American League, as Ash mentioned earlier, and no surprise to a lot of the guys on the team, as fans should be giving Altuve the recognition he deserves. You know, years past, they were feeling that maybe he wasn't known as well as he should have been, but he's the batting title. And A.J. Hinch saying today it's great for the organization that people are starting to recognize him as well. Rich Dower, guys, who I talked about earlier, said he comes to play every day. You know, there's guys that have good days at the plate, good day or good weeks, good months. Altuve has a good every day. He's fun to coach.
Thanks a lot, Julia. And he's fun to watch, too. There's no question about it. What a great year last year. Got off to a terrific start this year. Has cooled down a bit, but that's going to happen for anybody's season. George Springer 1 for 3 on the night, and he has swung it well. They appeal down to first base on the half swing and get the strike. 0-2 the count on George. Tommy Hunter is the new right-hander on the mound for the O's.
Tommy Hunter's turned into a power arm out of that Baltimore bullpen. As a starter, he really didn't have quite the velocity he does now. Now pitches around 96 miles an hour with his fastball, cuts it at 94.
High heat at 96. Excuse me. Chad Qualls getting loose now for the Astros. Getting set for that 8th inning. 5 hits for each team. The Astros lead it 2-1. Springer drills one down the right side, and this will go to the wall. Extra bases for Springer. Good strong throw into second base, but you can't stop that leadoff double by George Springer.
It was some kind of special. All he has to do is go with it. He's got enough pop that he can actually cut down his swing and still crush it. But we saw his hot zones earlier in the game, and that outside corner for him where he can get extended might be why he stands so far off the plate, to be able to get those arms extended. But right here, 95 on the outer corner, and hits a bullet to right field. Out of that leadoff spot again.
Double number 10 for George. So nobody out. Springer already in scoring position. And now Altuve at the plate. You're not asking Altuve to try to hit a ground ball to the right side, are you?
Yes, I am.
Are you? Okay. But at the same time trying to get a hit with it.
He'll end up getting a base hit with it.
294 that batting average.
He's been hitting the fastballs pretty good. Julia hinted at the fact he's having a tough time with the breaking ball so far this year.
There's a line drive into left field. Springer had to freeze momentarily, can only get to third. So there's your base hit. As Altuve is now 1 for 4 on the night. Back-to-back hits. Springer and Altuve. And the Astros trying to add some insurance here in the 8th.
Well, he proved both of us right.
There you go.
You said he was going to find a way to get hit anyway, and I said he was just going to get a hit.
It's kind of like a Surt's breath mint.
All kinds of resin on that ball.
I think you're talking about Retsin. But
gosh, I can't ever remember that. He ripped the Retsin off that ball. Everybody else is going, what are they talking about?
Yeah, just remember we're both right, and we'll move on as Preston Tucker stands in. And Preston takes a strike. Well, this will test you as a 3-hitter in the big leagues.
I was thinking the same exact thing. Good spot for this young man to be in. 1-run game. This is why you're hitting 3-hole, to drive in some big runs late in the game.
Tucker has struck out twice tonight around a walk. Runner goes from first, and Tucker takes the hack and fouls it off. 0-2 the count.
See how early Joseph moved out from behind home plate?
He was coming. That's firing out of there. Any doubts right there as to whether the O's were going to throw through?
Well, I was kind of curious if it was going to be a mini pitch out. If Hunter got a little more of the plate than he had intended to.
The Astros have not stolen a base tonight. The Orioles have executed a double steal. Boy, that ball was just pummeled into the seats.
That is clearing out the inside corner by Preston Tucker.
Okay, if you're trying to figure out can he get the head out, check the yes box.
My goodness, there's a couple founds down the right field line that will attest to that. Hopefully everybody's all right.
What he's had a tough time with tonight, a little bit, is a good high heater. Again, Altuve goes, breaking ball in the dirt. Half swing by Tucker. It'll be a stolen base for Altuve, but now the appeal down to third base and no swing for Tucker. So first stolen base on the night for the Astros. Number 42 on the year for the team.
Good jump, good read. I think it's a smart move by Springer not to try and test that right there. Sometimes when that ball bounces toward that first base side, it's tough to pick up or figure out how far away it gets from the catcher at third base.
You can just lose it from third base.
And the depth is tough.
Little chopper and a nice play on the mound by Hunter. And they've got Springer hung up. He is tagged out. And now into second base, alertly Preston Tucker. So when it's all said and done, It's a failed attempt and the first out of the inning to get any runs home, but 2 runners still in scoring position. And alert base running, certainly by Preston Tucker.
Well, we know who the first base coach is. This is actually a great play by Tommy Hunter to elevate and get this ball, get it out of his hands quick, and get it to an athlete who makes the out. But I'm sure Rich Dower at first base was waving Preston Tucker on. Probably hollering at him, make sure he makes a turn, watch the play. But a good job by George Springer also to stay in that rundown long enough to get Preston out there.
Jake Marisnick now comes on as a pinch runner at second base for Preston Tucker. So though Tucker runs well, Jake Marisnick runs better. The infield for the Orioles comes in, and that was a very nice play by Tommy Hunter. Evan Gattis, who has been an RBI machine here over just under a month. And he would love to add some more right here.
Good month of May numbers.
Takes the breaking ball. It's 1-1. You would figure Marisnick would stay in and play center field, with Rasmus moving to left field in place of Preston Tucker. If you think and squeeze, forget it. It's raking time here. 1-2 the count. Had that little chopper off the bat of Tucker somehow gotten over Tommy Hunter behind the mound, could have turned out being an infield single.
Oh my goodness, could you imagine? Be an infield single and George Springer scores easy.
Chopper to shortstop. Hardy comes to the plate, and there's the second out of the inning. 6-2 on the putout. That's Altuve trying to score into third base now is Marisnick, and the Astros just unable to pick up a third run here in the inning.
Last year, I believe Baltimore's defense was tops in the American League, and right here they're proving it tonight, getting a couple of key outs for Tommy Hunter after getting the first 2 guys on base.
Buck Showalter comes out to the mound. He's going to go to the bullpen once again, but though Tommy Hunter allowed a leadoff double to Springer and then the base hit by Altuve, he has come locked down for the next couple of hitters, and Showalter wants to get out without any damage.
Tomorrow's pitching matchup brought to you by Chevron. They want you to care for your car. For the Baltimore Orioles, Ubaldo Jimenez having a bounce back year with that ERA around 2.82. High strikeout guy. Low whip going up against Colin McHugh on that getaway day for the Houston Astros.
The big OU. And now it's Brian Mattis, the left-hander, against Colby Rasmus, who is already 0 for 3 on the night with 3 strikeouts and falls behind 0-1. Brian Mattis, 28 years of age, in his 15th game of the year. And he's been good, ERA at 3.18. Ball and a strike.
And for those wondering, Jake Marisnick came in to pinch run for Preston Tucker. So therefore, the right-handed bat, outfield bat, is now running. Jonathan Villar can swing right-handed. Hank Conger can swing right-handed, but this is Colby's at bat.
Two and 1 the count. Can Colby pick out a fastball right here and juice one? The Astros could certainly use it. Lefty's just 185 against this lefty. Well, if you were up there guessing fastball, might have gotten fooled. So 3 and 1. Can you get the heat right here?
Worked himself into a fastball count.
Of course, Valbuena waits on deck. He also is a left-handed bat. Perfectly spotted.
That's exactly what it was. I guarantee you Colby was looking for the fastball, but Mattis does a better job of locating the fastball. A couple inches off the plate. Alfonso gives it to him.
3 and 2. That'll put Gaddis in motion from first. There he goes in the pitch. Got him. Well, apparently Colby got a piece.
I'd like to make sure Mattis comes set.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing on the first pitch he threw.
He's real quick at the top and then goes. He's already got issues with a potential suspension hovering above him. Foreign substance on that arm in the game against the Miami Marlins.
Do it again at 3 and 2. Gaddis a very short lead. And now on the move, Colby gets a piece.
Watch Mattis's hands seem to set a couple times. You see the front leg moving a little bit too, but once he actually finds a position, he comes straight to home plate.
See, that's what bothers me. The hands come set, but the feet are still moving. So you can't call that a set. And as soon as he sets the foot down, then he moves.
He does it 2 or 3 times.
Pitch outside. Colby coaches the walk, and that'll load him up for Luis Valbuena.
That was very well said by you, Ash.
Well, I appreciate that.
No, because I'm with you. That was a borderline pitch. We've seen a pitch called a strike, but that one just far enough off the edge to convince Alfonso there was a ball.
Do you think they could hear us from down there?
Absolutely.
Okay. I think you and I should take a little credit for that walk.
We always do.
Well, a big spot for Luis Valbuena, who's 1 for 3 on the night. Had a double back in the 4th inning. His 6th on the year. As a big rip comes up empty.
That double he hit the other way, Valbuena did. Well, he did a great job of getting on top of that ball, which has been rare in the streak that he's had, because it seems like that swing has kind of turned into an uppercut a little bit. Makes it tough to square the ball up.
The result's a 196 batting average. Ball on a strike. But again, we mentioned Valbuena leading the team in home runs. Breaking ball slammed to right field. At the wall, it's off the wall. Make that. Marisnick scores. Gaddis scores. A 2-run single by Luis Valbuena. And the Astros extend that lead to 4-1 here in the 8th inning.
Big hit, and guess what? 2 out RBIs again, Ash. Valbuena getting that stroke back. Picked the perfect time to do it. How about Mattis coming in, trying to be that left-on-left specialist, walks Colby Rasmus, and gives up a bullet to Luis Valbuena on a breaking ball hanging right out over the plate.
So the Astros have gotten to that magic 4-run mark. Buck Showalter has seen enough of his left-hander. He'll go to the pen once again. And that ball was slammed. That's a long single for you.
Might have been a little admiration there on Valbuena's part. Astros are leading 4-1 here in the top of the 8th and still have a couple runners on. Time now for the Whataburger. What a play. I think we just saw it. Luis Valbuena got himself a hanging slider from left-hander Mattis. Ropes a bullet off the wall. Gets 2 runs to go in. That is what is increasing this lead and adding to that run total from the 7th inning on for the Houston Astros, which is pretty amazing.
Right-hander Chaz Rowe comes in for the Orioles. Pitcher number 4 on the night for Baltimore. 4-1 now. The Astros on top. 2 out runs. Key for Houston here in the night. Chris Carter had the first big one as he drove in a run to tie the ball game in the 7th inning, and that was a 2-out hit. 3-0 the count.
Chaz will come at you with a fastball about 92 miles an hour. Also has a slider. As far as I can tell, there's only 2 pitches that are listed. I'll have to check them out and see.
Carter swings through it. It's 3-1. 4 more runs tonight from the 7th inning on. 85 of them on the year. The next closest pursuer, Oakland, starting the day at 70. And the walk to Carter. So that'll load him up. Still 2 outs for Jason Castro. Castro, like Carter, came up with a 2-out run producing hit in the 7th. Castro now with 12 ribbies on the year.
I think Buck Showalter's eyes were burning a hole through that lineup card.
Buck could be in a very close game, no question, and it is close at 4-1. But as Castro drives one to left field, low on the run, and crossing onto the warning track makes the catch, it had a chance to open up. But the O's get out of it. 2 more runs score. 4-1 Houston.
by Kubota. It is Scott Feldman doing his work here. Old stomping ground. Spent 3 months here, but we saw him get 3 clutch double plays made behind him to get those runners off the bases. 6 innings pitched, 1 run given up. That qualifies him for a quality start. Good job on his road trip trying to get this first win here in Baltimore behind the big man Scott Feldman.
And so the Astros go to the bullpen once again as Chad Qualls comes on to work the 8th inning. Defensively, Colby Rasmus moves from center to left field. Jake Marisnick, who came on as the pinch runner, is now the center fielder. And Tucker is out of the ball game.
We talk about high leverage situations sometimes. When do you bring in the closer? When don't you bring in the closer? But how about A.J. Hinch has a couple closers out there? Because this situation for me right now is a high leverage situation with this 1-2-3 at the top of the order for Baltimore. But Chad Qualls, having been in that role and has 4 saves on the season, right man, right spot.
Manny Machado leads it off. Very close pitch, called a ball, and you can see that little bit of a freeze from Chad.
It was disappointing.
One more game in the series, and that comes tomorrow, but doesn't start until 4:35. Ground ball foul outside the bag. On a getaway day, if you get a day game, which technically I guess tomorrow's game is, you hope it's early in the day. Will not be the case for the Astros.
Good number on the bottom there. Ash, you hit on it. 85 runs scored after the 7th inning. Wow.
Breaking ball hit high and deep left field, but Colby Rasmus, with plenty of room, makes the catch, out number 1.
Big first out, but I'd be lying if I told you I didn't flinch just a little bit in this ballpark with a high fly ball.
Well, after what we saw yesterday, there was a fly ball that fooled both of us. And so, yeah, as soon as it comes off the bat, you figure deep, and let's take a look. Jimmy Peretta stands in. And Jimmy is 3 for 3 on the night, a couple of singles and a double. $21,541 on hand here this evening. Left-hander Tony Sipp starting to get loose for the Astros in the pen. 2-tiered pen out in left center field, and the Astros on the upper tier. That means they have to work with the fans right above them. Ground ball to second. The shift on Altuve right there, and 2 outs here in the 8th.
And we got Jimmy out.
Just the way you want to face Adam Jones. 2 outs, nobody on base. Jones 0 for 2 on the night. Has drawn a walk and stolen a base, his 2nd of the year. And again, the Orioles just simply don't run much. The 2 bags they've picked up tonight came on a double steal and give the O's 15 stolen bases on the year. They are 14th in the ranking of 15 teams. With the 0 for 2 night, Adam Jones hitting .311. Qualls trying to get through this 8th inning, maintaining the 4-1 lead. Little slide piece in for a strike. It's 1-1. The Orioles are 6th in home runs in the American League. They're 3rd in team batting average. So offensively, they've been pretty solid. Ground ball to short. Marwin, talk about solid. He has been really good. Makes another play, a 1-2-3 8th inning for Chad Qualls. Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare right now at southwest.com. Downtown Baltimore, Maryland, 4-1 Astros lead it over the Orioles. Game 2 of the series. Astros trying to even the series at a game apiece. Chad Qualls with a perfect 8th inning. So that bullpen doing its job. Chaz Rose set for another inning here. And the first pitch grounded to the right side. Davis with the play on to Rowe, and out number 1. Marwin winds up 0 for 4. But he has played very well at shortstop. Back to the top with George Springer, who's 2 for 4. So he's starting to pick up those 2-hit games.
Those will help out the average, sitting at 231 right now. It's good to see.
Start stringing 2-hit games together and everything's going to work out. Caleb Joseph takes one on the chin.
Literally.
Springer had 3 hits yesterday, 3 for 5 with a dinger and a ribby. Takes a strike. It's 0-2. But again, for George, he strung together 3 consecutive 2-hit games between the 20th and the 22nd of May. I'm not sure anything looks better than when George hits a line drive down the right side like he did in the 8th inning for that double. Just perfect.
Looks pretty natural. And it's scalded. It's not a drop shot. It's on a line.
2-2.
He's got a great knowledge of the strike zone. But I think with these numbers going up, I also see a much more aggressive George Springer than we saw earlier in the year.
Agreed. Now for me, George Springer's a guy that can drive in a lot of runs. And the walks will come as a result of how good he is. Pitchers will pitch around him. Not the other way around.
No, you start mashing the ball and you start driving runners in, they are going to be a lot more careful with you. But again, he's still got to be ready to fire on those mistakes that are hanging out over the plate.
3-2 the count. For the Orioles in the 9th inning, it's 4-5-6. Chris Davis, Steve Pearce, and Delman Young. But the Astros up by 3. And the 1-out walk. So that's one of those walks that's simply a result of respect of the hitter.
I completely agree. Chaz knew he had to throw a good pitch or else he was going to get beat up. Follow the Astros all season with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCasts, and more. Get MLB.com at Bat for your smartphone or tablet.
One out here in the 9th inning. Jose Altuve at the plate, 1 for 4 on the night. He has stolen a bag, his 15th on the year. Was thrown out trying to score. That was Evan Gattis hitting with the infield drawn in. But now George Springer looking around trying to figure out how he can put a 5th run on the board for the Astros. 2 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th. 4 more of those 7th inning on runs for Houston. 85 on the year. Fastball hit hard to right field, but back and there to make the play is Delman Young. Out number 2, and George Springer has to sprint to get back. Two outs for Jake Marisnick, who came on as a pinch runner for Preston Tucker in the 8th inning. Marisnick hitting .273. Orioles anticipating maybe the running game from Springer. Marisnick last year in 51 games hit .272 for the Astros, and he's at .273 right now. So maybe he's settling into an area that might be about where he figures to be these days. Got off to a great start on the year.
Tell you what, he hovers around .275 all year and plays defense like he does. You get a lot of happy people.
Very accurate.
It'd be good to see him maintain that. Maybe have those spurts like we saw early in the year where he catches fire and does some pretty dynamic things. But seeing him on base a little more often would be great too for that running game that the Astros have.
Slider grounded slowly to short. Hardy comes on, a very steady shortstop, gets Marisnick, and that'll do it for Houston in the 9th inning. To the bottom of the 9th we go. 4-1. Astros lead it. I can.
Yeah.
My vision has been corrected.
It's pretty impressive stuff.
My vision or
my wave?
Luke Gregerson comes on now for the bottom of the 9th inning. He'll face the 4, 5, 6 hitters for the Orioles in his 21st appearance now.
Great numbers on Gregerson. Tough on righties with that sinker slider combo. We saw that be pretty effective over there in Detroit against the heavy right-handed lineup. 12 of 13 in the save opportunity department. These guys are enjoying their roles out there in that bullpen.
Yeah, and they've stayed consistent, and I think guys love that when that's the case.
So true.
The Astros trying to win number 30 on the season against 17 losses. Chris Davis starts it out. 0 for 2 on the night. Does have a sac fly and a ribby. 23 RBIs for Davis. Shift on as the first pitch is fouled on the ground. Orioles have the left-handed bat of De Aza waiting on deck.
Saw those numbers around 286 as the batting average against Luke Gregerson.
And now 0-2 the count.
It's amazing. It seems to be a little bit of a hole there on Chris Davis's swing on that down and in breaking ball. Saw Scott Feldman get a punch out on him down and in. Now we see Gregerson get ahead with that slider down and in.
Went down and got one down and away for the sac fly. or down and out over the plate.
That one leaked out a little bit more over the plate. Let him get extended.
That sac fly came in the 6th inning. The Orioles took a 1-0 lead at that point, but then came the 7th, and you know what that means for the Astros.
Runs galore.
Down on strikes, Chris Davis. Out number 1 here in the 9th inning.
Great execution from Luke Gregerson. I think we all know where the book is. The Astros are trying to attack that down and in with the off speed on the slider. But we also notice that Chris Davis is not one of the better hitters with 2 strikes on him either.
Again, that huge year a few years back,
yeah.
199 strikeouts.
All or nothing.
So at times when he's at his best, he'll get his and then he'll be gotten at times. Shift on as Alejandro De Aza stands in and takes a ball. De Aza came up with the White Sox and had a pretty strong beginning in the big leagues. One and 2 the count now on De Aza. Actually, De Aza originally came up with the Florida Marlins, then moved on to the White Sox. He looked for a while to be a fixture with Chicago. He's down on strikes. So Gregerson comes on with that slider again down and in, and gets his 2nd straight man.
Time now for our TXU Energy Power Player of the Game. Big hit off the bat of Jason Castro. Shot that gap with Chris Carter on base. Proved to be the game-winning RBI. Or should prove to be the game-winning RBI. I don't want to jump the gun here too early, but another big hit off the bat of Castro the Astro.
Fastball sinks under the knees of Delman Young. Young 1 for 3 on the night. Had a 7th inning single. And this should do it. Popped up on the right side. Chris Carter calling, and now called off by Altuve. And that's it. A 1-2-3 9th turned in by Luke Gregerson. The Astros score 4 runs over the final 3 frames, and it's win number 30. 30-17 for the Houston Astros as they lead in the American League West, and a nice team effort here this evening in Baltimore.